Look at this guy. Now, here's an example of what would happen in a lawsuit, a malpractice, if you will. Maybe you could explain this to me. But this is part of the breaking news in News Junkie. A Florida man dies after a 20-hour response call from 911, from 911 rather. So it took him 20 hours to get there. In something like this, would that be a malpractice case against the local, ambulance corps or the hospital? What would that be?
It probably might depend on how the call came in. I mean, if the call came in legitimately and it took them that long to get there,
right?
Maybe. I don't know how the call came in.
So you could blame, in essence, the 911 service, which is a public entity done through the government, as opposed to the actual responders themselves from like a Guilfoyle.
Part of it.
20 hours is a long time, as you might. Lawsuit alleges Utica police chief failed to address officers' violent tendencies. I know a little bit about this. I don't know if you know anything about it, but sometimes there are lawsuits against those who use physical force against suspects, and that based on an account of other incidents in their career, maybe that should have been held accountable. Do you think that's true? Do you think that police officers or anything that happened prior to any given case should not be admissible to court? Eric?
Well, I don't know. It depends on. I haven't seen the record, obviously, and obviously I'm a criminal defense lawyer, so you'd think I'd always be.
No.
Terrible, but
you're being very honest.
On the other hand, I mean, the stress those guys are under all the time. You never know. You pull someone over if they're armed.
Right.
Some people have no respect for human life. They don't care. I mean, the stress is on them. I mean, I have stress in my job, but the stress. I mean, I'm going to get yelled at or in trouble, but I'm not going to get. Well, hopefully, I'm not going to get shot.
Well,
but these guys do that all the time.
Yeah.
And Utica's, it's kind of like water.
It's a big Watertown.
It's what Watertown's becoming, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Big city problems, lack of culture.
Lack of jobs down there.
Lack of jobs.
Terrible.
So it's kind of like...
Terrible. Yeah.
Unfortunately, what we're becoming. So
but
I don't want to jump in and jump all over the police chief on that.
But there's a double-edged sword here. I mean, how...
Right. I mean, you should know if you have a psycho on the...
Well, no, but...
Michael Myers is your police
Right, yeah. Hey, there's good cops that...
Should be effective.
Good police officers, rather, that have had incidents. But like you said, first of all, I'm a true believer that at the actual incident itself, if it's a car crash, there's a dead body there, or there's a fight at a bar, turn your sirens off. Because that only fuels the fire. Do you agree with me? I watch cops a lot, and whenever they're running after a guy, they got those sirens in the back. The human psyche, the adrenaline, the blood, that moment, that heat of the moment right there, doesn't need a siren blaring in the background, because then you can't communicate with your other, partner, and that's when friendly fire or incidents happen. Do you agree?
I'm not sure. Then again, the sirens might stop the guy from doing the coup de grace with the Miller Lite bottle.
Right. And then getting back to this, you got a guy that they're wondering whether or not they should have known about his previous incidents. What about a guy who's on trial for rape, and he had an assault case back in the day that's not admissible to court? Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah.
So I think what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. In this case, the police officer, rather, I shouldn't use that word. The police officer, rather, is doing his or her job, and like you say, Eric, very well, mind you, is that that job is high stress, and you got to give them a little slack. I'm not saying they can go off and use their their nightstick and beat the crap, but a little more pay, no question. All right, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and this is the time that I ask you, Eric, if people need to get in contact with you. And then we talk more or less for the criminal aspect of things, Eric, and I'm sorry to do that, but in as far as malpractice suits, wrongful deaths, very similar to what we talked.
I don't do malpractice or wrongful deaths, but I do personal injury, car accidents, dog bites. I do criminal and debt collection. Key Bank, 3rd floor, 836-1540. 836-1540 for the man himself, Eric. I know you got to get going right now, but thank you very much. Looking sharp, and I will see. Oh, by the way, real quick, is the party for Kevin Friday or Saturday? Friday.
Hear that, Sharon? AM 12. Thank you. Exactly. AM 1240 W810 Watertown. We'll see.